Keeping the Flow podcast, hosted by Jason and Chad.
Oh, welcome back to another episode, a new season. I'm your host, Jason Upton of Keeping the Flow. With me is Chad Johnson.
Hello.
So we're back for another year, Chad.
Yeah.
Another season, I guess.
Yeah. Life happens, things happen, slow down a little bit, and then, the holidays hit, and then, what's to start a new season? So it sounds like a good plan, right? I like it.
When is the thing about it is it's still the same problems.
Nothing. We haven't solved all the world's problems yet.
And I think they're getting worse. And maybe that's what our topic can be tonight, maybe talking about what should we look at as far as shows? What should our topics be? What are the things that are still, that were in the news as far as water, wastewater, and utilities go? Are those still the same issues that people are having? Are they getting worse? Are they getting better? I don't see that we're making progress sometimes. I don't know what the answers are. Yeah,
we're trying.
I don't know what the
Maybe
answers
if everybody had a podcast, they could get their word out. But
yeah, and that's one thing too. Like when you start reevaluating, it's like, okay, did we reach anybody? Did anybody pay attention? And I think we did. I've had people ask when I'm coming, when we're going to be coming up with some new episodes, and we're still continuing to get people following us on Facebook and Spotify.
Good.
So yeah, so I think this is a good opportunity to get some of these topics out where people can listen to them. And maybe if you were 20 years old, would you listen to us?
Well, I mean, if I was in the industry and I was trying to figure stuff out, I would get information wherever I could, and this would be a good spot to do it. So I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And I mean, we talk more about just stuff for 20-year-olds and getting into the industry. I mean, we're trying to focus on actual problems, I think, and I think this is a good format for that. All we ask is, some feedback.
And I think that's a problem within itself. We talk about that age range, but that's kind of the age range that we need to look at coming into the industry, like you said. But like, how do we attract them? What are we doing wrong that we're not getting people to backfill? Because every time I open up an Indeed or, one of these job sites, I see a need for operators. It's like an operator here, all these openings. Are they getting filled? What are cities doing to fill this shortage? Currently the city we've got a lot of openings. So how do we attract that age group? Or do we say, well, it's a lot of responsibility. I wouldn't know if I'd hire a 20-year-old anyway, because I remember, as you do too, probably what you were like when you were 20. Would you really want that responsibility as a 20-year-old? Would you feel comfortable putting a 20-year-old with that much responsibility of running a water system or running a sewer system by themselves?
Well, I mean, yeah, you want somebody with some experience, right? But you still need a mentor. You can't just get thrown into it and expect to run it by yourself, right? Or do you need to have some sort of license, or is that what they're doing now?
Well, I think your small systems, a lot of times it's only one person. What I see in my class, because I always ask them, where they're from, why did they decide to get in this as a career? Most of the people in my class, believe it or not, are probably closer to your 30s and up. It's people that have had a different career and maybe looking at some, hey, I saw an opening at the city and applied, got the job. I love it. Now the guy who was in charge of the water and wastewater, he's getting ready to retire. And so the city's wanting me to take it over. That's generally the story.
Yeah.
And, some of these cities only have that one person and he's retiring and he's going to, okay, here you go.
I mean, in a small system, and I've been around the block as well. And in small systems, I mean, those guys, they live, eat, and breathe that town that they live in, right? They're what I call local celebrities, and they can't get away from anybody. and everybody knows them, and then they're asking questions, why haven't you fixed this, or why haven't you done that? But they genuinely care. And I think you could find a 20-year-old that's growing up in the city or the town or the village, and they can make an impact or want to do something, and I think they just need a bench. They need to ask somebody's kid that's growing up and say, hey, like summer work, summer help, get started in it.
Okay. So you say
And
20. What about 17, 18?
yeah, I mean, get started early, and
Running
unless they have
a water
aspirations,
plant?
not running, but I mean, somebody's running it now. I mean, they need a bench, so you just need to be more proactive,
Yeah.
right? I mean, somebody's just not gonna. I mean, I'm sure it happens. I know it happens. Somebody just quits and goes, "Hey, figure it out," and the next guy up isn't there. But then I guess you have to hire an outside party, right? A third party
Right.
operator. Maybe throw them a couple extra bucks to help mentor or train somebody just to get the basics until they're getting their license. And I mean, somebody has a license and they're competent. I mean, 20 years old doesn't really mean anything,
Right. And so then that raises the question. So where should you be recruiting? High schools? Like try to get
Maybe.
into high schools to do recruiting so that you get
Well,
them right out of high school? I mean, most kids when they come out of high school, they're either going to go to college or they're going to get a job. Some of them might already have a job while they're in high school that they're going to continue with that job. Do you go to the high schools then and try to recruit? I mean, grade schools is grade school too early? I mean, I know I went to a couple conferences and I mean, they talk about getting into the schools in general, like,
right.
grade schools and junior highs. And I mean, I think that's good for operations and for municipalities to get there, but
Right.
I don't know that you're job seeking. I think it's good to help people learn about their system or how their water comes out of their tap or where it goes
Right.
when they flush the toilet. I think those are good things to get into the younger grades and high schoolers. But
No, and really, needs to be some more emphasis on an honest job as far as and we can sit and debate what an honest job is, but what I'm saying is there's a more of a sexy allure to like AI and content creating and Instagram, and
yeah,
listen to all these people thinking they're going to make $1 million in a year because they post content on LinkedIn. Just it's not really like that. So the reality is AI is going to take most of those jobs anyways. So a fake person making fake content, promising fake promises. And at the end of the day, somebody needs to get into a trench and somebody needs to treat water and somebody needs to pick up a shovel. Those jobs aren't going to go away. So if
yeah,
you're living in a small town and you think you're going to get out and be an actor or make content all day, that reality might hit you in the face pretty quick. So those jobs, most automated jobs, are going to go away, and then now we're stuck with actual work again.
well, and I would also throw in there that younger group understands AI and understands computers and electronics, and all of them have had that are graduating high school have had phones in their hands since they were 3 years old in some cases.
Yeah.
Now they're used to that. In fact, when we were texting back before the show here, back and forth, I must have got an update that I didn't even know about. I was trying to find an emoji. There's about 1,000 emojis on there now. It's like, like things are evolving pretty quick or pretty fast in that side, like, computers, AI, so we've got one topic so far is, operators, how to backfill, what grade. But now we've mentioned AI. I think that's a topic worth discussing on a future show too.
I do.
What effect we see in the industry, in the water industry. I mean, will AI have an effect on your on your career, Chad? Does it have an effect on you?
No, well, it does and it doesn't. So I am just a salesman, right? Just a guy trying to sell something and a service or a product. But you still need to relate to people. You still need to identify problems and what you can solve and what you can help with. That's just not done over a computer in a conversation. I mean, call, and this is going to be forever. How many times and now it's, so you call an office, you get an AI responder, and what's the first thing you say? Give me a live person.
Right.
You need to talk to, I mean, it's just not there yet. And it might be, but it's not there yet. And you can tell when it's AI and it's just not fast enough, and it's just not good. It's fine, but it's just not good. And you need to explain what you're talking about. You need somebody to understand your problem, and there's no understanding there. So AI isn't going to replace my job. You need physical people
Hmm.
going to talking to physical people about what they need and what they need help with.
But
So
do you think that stands true with younger generations? Do you think that they need that face to face, that salesman? I mean, we're both saying, yeah. I mean, I would prefer a salesman come in, talk to somebody face to face. I like that. I like that
yeah,
relationship with your sales reps, and if you need something, you know they're going to be there for you.
yeah. Well, and
Do these next generations, do they need that?
I would say, yeah, they do. And if they don't know it yet, they will, because you're not going to have much of a prosperous life if you just think that a computer is going to solve all your problems all the time, and not talk to anybody. It's just not
Yeah.
the way humans are built. So I would say, yeah, I mean, AI is going to be able to help you. I mean, it helps me, get my message across more cleaner, more efficiently, with papers that I generate for content, as far as writing up a letter or something like that. Here, make this cleaner. Did I miss any points? No, because I'm not an editor. I need some ideas to help me with that. I mean, that's a good thing, and it makes it more efficient, faster. The message is there, but it's not. It's something that it just makes it faster to do. Takes up less
Hmm.
time, but it's AI is not going to replace the face-to-face interactions that people need. It's just not going to.
Yeah, and I've even heard some different chatter too that AI is basically analyzing everything that we put into it. It learns through the questions and then the responses, the acceptance of the responses that they get back. And I guess there's some chatter like what happens when AI starts teaching itself.
Right.
So then you start not having real live answers. It's AI answers that are answering
Yeah.
itself.
Well,
So
I mean, AI can be a bully too, and cyber bully somebody. Make you think that somebody's actually talking to you and behind a screen, which is normal now. You see something online, it's like, oh, Chad Johnson, he's a prick. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't write that.
yeah.
What are you talking about, Jake? And it's the AI gods playing jokes on us or something. I don't know, but until I see you face to face, I mean, I don't know if it's real or true or
Well, I
what.
mean, there's even debate on like how do you accept a photo for real because there's
You
so
can't.
much AI.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can't.
like what is actually real anymore? It kind of gets scary. But in the industry, in the water and wastewater industry, I think AI can be a very useful tool as long as we keep it as a tool, and don't put. I mean, you don't put a lot of dependency on AI. You still have to have that human interface to be able to make decisions, but AI, and this is all me, I'm sure that there's AI buttons and switches out there that could run a plant, but I still think it's a useful tool that can analyze a lot of data that's
Right.
collected. The data that I mean, we collect so much data anymore, even at a water treatment plant or a wastewater treatment plant, where all the new computers and the programs can analyze your water and so we got all this data, but now what do we do with it? We don't have that ability. Like you said, it saves on time. If we were to sit there, you'd have to have a full-time person to sit there and analyze all this data, and then it's not at our fingertips. You have to research it and look it up.
Right.
That all takes time. In most cases, we collect all this data and then it just sits there. Here, now that with AI, you can analyze all that data and it can help you make predictions that I think will be useful. Like for us, we treat the Mississippi River. So, it can tell you in such and such year, these conditions, mimic a different time period, and you can make the adjustments to whatever you're see is happening with the process. So um,
Yeah.
I think it'll be useful tool, but I still think you're going to have one some sort of human interface, and maybe after I don't think we will see AI that taking over positions in the water and wastewater in my lifetime. Now maybe a few more generations down the road they might see that.
Yeah. Well, and when we talked about cybersecurity too, and with Tom Kirkham, and I don't know that I want a computer running a water plant with buttons and switches, because some nefarious individual in some other country or even this country can hack into that and start pushing buttons for us. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, do we want it connected to everything? I mean, maybe not.
So now we got another topic there, AI. But now you've brought up another topic. We talked about cybersecurity. I
Yeah.
think more and more conferences that I've been going to, that is the topic. I think in Illinois anyway, I think you're going to probably see it being more and more part of our inspection process. I
Mhm.
think you're going to see us having to produce that we do have some sort of cybersecurity and what our cybersecurity is. I mean, there's groups out there that help with cybersecurity, but I think that still needs to be a topic for discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, we have to talk about money. I think, nobody has enough money, unfortunately, and how are we going to pay for these guys, and how are we going to pay for the cybersecurity, and how are we going to pay for the new regulations, and I think rate studies. How do we right size your rate studies? Talk about that, and things cost more, and what are some strategies? What is communication? How do we get the buy-in from the communities to hey, you got to pay a little bit more. Water isn't free. Water is not free.
What have you been seeing on your side, Chad? Do you think cities are cutting back on maintenance and projects?
Yep. And then when the new regulations come up, they don't have enough money, and they all say, well, we haven't had an increase in 20 years. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, because our mayor doesn't want to do that, and it's all political. Somebody told me, Chad, we can't raise rates um during an election year or during a campaign year. Well, when can you raise rates? He's like, well, we have like a 3-week window. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so never.
Well,
I'm like, doesn't
I
make any
know
sense.
that's such a sensitive topic, raising
Yeah,
rates,
yeah,
because
of course.
you're not going to win if you raise the rates. Then you're going to have the public mad at you. I mean, currently we just put a rate increase in, and that's the hot topic. We've got to lower our water bills. Well, we just put a rate increase in. I guess my explanation is to the residents. I mean, I pay it. I'm a city resident, so I pay the same rates. But they got to understand, like, well, in our city, I mean, we're an enterprise zone, or
Right.
so that means it's funded through user fees. And I get it. The economy is bad right now, but hopefully it's turning the corner and we're going to be better here. I have seen some improvement, like in the grocery stores and such. But if costs are up at your own house, what do you think what do you think happens to a
Yeah.
municipality, to a water plant or a wastewater plant? Like, people don't think that we have costs that are increasing, and then see cities that are declining in population. Well, you're losing users, right, to get those fees that pay for it. So your money's actually decreasing because you're losing users
Yep.
that are moving out, population's decreasing, and the costs keep increasing. So, it's tough. And you can plan and plan and plan, and then things will come up that you didn't plan for. And then it's like now all your plans are shot. And so now you're on, like, instead of plan B, you're on like plan F, because you're ready to, like,
Well, people will pay more for cable, right? I mean, if their cable bill goes up, they're going to figure it out. People pay more for their cell phone bill. Their cell phone bill goes up. It's not the end of the world. So how much is your rate? Which was it, $8 per thousand, or is it $6 per thousand, or what's a good rate?
I don't know offhand. Without looking at all
Okay.
our.
All right. So let's say it's $6 per thousand. Is that reasonable, or is that out of
That's probably there. You got meter. See, like, a lot of the rates are, so screwbally. And I think that a lot of cities are still on that same old way of a rate structure, meaning that used to be the thinking was, hey, let's make more sales, let's expand our systems, let's sell our water, let's make some money here. And they've expanded, and the costs have went up, but they didn't put anything back for repairs or maintenance on your system. Well, so now it's starting to catch up, like you don't have a lot of these towns don't have money saved up to make these repairs. I mean, it's just like us in the real world. That's a problem with the people in the world today. The same thing, most people live in check to check. I get it. Costs have increased, but they've increased for the municipality as well.
Okay. So I was going to do some quickie math, right? And I was going to say, well, what happens if we had Starbucks coffee come through your faucets? So if somebody goes to Starbucks, they're going to pay what, $6, $6 for a 6-ounce glass of coffee, 8-ounce glass of coffee, right? So if we did some quickie math and we go $6 for 8 ounces compared to $6 for 1,000 gallons,
I know.
you're looking at like $128,000 per month,
Yeah.
or per
But
1,000
you know
gallons.
what?
Per 1,000
People
gallons,
would rather
$120,000 per 1,000 gallons.
people would rather complain about high water than they would raising Starbucks. If Starbucks came out and said, "Oh, we're going to raise it to $8," guess what? Everybody would complain and be like, "Oh, that's terrible." But guess what? The lines would still be out the door for
Right.
$8 Starbucks coffee.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of perspective. And I think, and I've touched on this too in presentations, and say, hey, there's got to be some kind of buy-in from the community to understand where their money is going. It's not that expensive. And if you didn't have clean water coming through your faucets, I mean, you wouldn't be able to live, and everybody's house would be burnt down, and, it'd be pure chaos. But yeah, you raise it a couple of dollars and all of a sudden, people are moving out and mayor's not going to get elected. And well, eventually you got to raise rates because you need to pay for the repairs.
A lot of cities are eating these unfunded mandates. The lead and copper, the lead and galvanized has to be out of systems, and so cities are having to plan how they're going to remove it and how they're going to pay for these removals. Are you going to send it to the, residents, everybody?
Right. Yeah.
So the city going to pick it up and then increase user fees to pay for
Right.
removals? Or do you just say, you're going to have to pay for your own, get it fixed? People can't afford that.
Or drill your well.
Well, there, some people, if they own their home, they have to go get a second mortgage to get their lines fixed. Because if you got a lead line, you're going to have to replace the entire line, which cities are going to have to do that too. It's coming up. So they got to start planning for that. Tower maintenance, well maintenance, everything, the cost of material. Have you guys seen a cost of material going up?
So we don't really have material besides paint. And then sometimes we need steel to rebuild things. And then tariffs have increased costs of steel, but nothing drastic as far as like material costs. We don't build tanks.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, everything's going up. We see paint increases and, and costs of labor too. I mean, that's obviously labor goes up.
Yeah. I think not to, drag a dead horse on COVID, but after COVID, things got real. Costs went up because of COVID, but they never came back down. And they just continued to increase. And, in some cases, you suffer 150% increase in chemical costs.
Right.
Now, how can you not justify? How can you not be able to? How can residents not understand that these costs are happening to the municipalities as well?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think costs, raising rates, making sure cities raise rates, and again, it gets into that whole political. They don't want to vote for. Because guess what? Now your head's on a platter. If you're a council member who voted for a rate increase, they hear it from everybody. And so who wants to vote for a rate increase? We can't do any rate increase. Then how are we going to pay for stuff?
Right. Yeah. I mean, some of the more efficient ones have established, 3% increase per year. It's what it is, and it's been voted on, and that's been going on for years. That's one way, just to vote it in and say, every year we just have an increase. We don't have to vote on it. It is what it is,
Yeah. In a lot of cases too, those every time that they deny an increase. So in other words, if it's recommended by staff and they say, you know what, we're not going to do an increase this year, or instead of what's recommended by staff is 5%, because we haven't had a rate increase. So we're going to have to recommend a 5%. And they say, that's too much. People can't afford it. So we're going to go 3. We're going to do a 3%. That extra 2% then gets compounded, and it's harder to get caught up the next year because you didn't meet the,
current needs, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So that definitely needs to be a topic as well. I would agree.
Okay. I like it.
What else you got? Anything else?
In my little bag of tricks here, we can always talk about safety. I liked some of the safety topics we have, and I think that's always a thing that we need to talk about, because
Yeah.
what we're talking about and doing things is not the safest job in the world either. I mean, and I think it's important. So I like to come back to that one and talk a little bit about that too. I think that'd be good.
Yeah. What elements of safety? I mean,
well, new regulations
in the workplace,
right?
safety.
Yeah,
the regulations
yeah.
are.
Well,
Yeah.
New regulations, what to keep up with, just little refresher of anything new or what's changed. I mean, we have a safety meeting every year, and all the salespeople, everybody, even though I'm really not in the field as far as like climbing towers or doing any of that, but I still know what's going on in the company. We have all the recaps, all the new regulations, all the things that the company has to do to stay current and safe. Unless you Google it, you're really not thinking about it, right? Or unless somebody comes in, you're really not thinking about it. So it's good just to have something to talk about safety.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't. It's sometimes looking back, that's something that, again, the older folks, such as ourselves, we recognize that the older you get, I will tell you, the older you get, the more you start recognizing those safety things. So it's like, that's going to hurt. It's either that or you've probably had an experience that wasn't nice. And so you've experienced some sort of pain. I have.
Yep.
And looking back, it's like, I don't want to do that again. So like, you get something something as simple as like not wearing your glasses while you're grinding,
Oh, yeah, for
proper
sure.
PPE, and you
Yep.
get something in your eye and it's like, man, that hurts. And then you have to go to the emergency room, give them drops or whatever they do, flush it.
Yep.
And so you don't want to do that again. So then next time before you start grinding, it's like, well, I'm gonna put my safety glasses on.
Yeah. Just and maybe even some talk about how to bring it up, in your meetings. Like we've touched on this before, but I mean, it's always good to revisit. That's all. Some
Yeah.
strategies to have stuff in place and meetings in place. So
Well, and as always, too, another thing that with people listening or people seeing this, if they ever have any questions, I would love to have some like, what kind of questions do people getting into the industry like to try to get their license? Like, what areas do they struggle with when it comes to testing? These are things that I take back to the class with me. Like, hey, it's like there's a lot of people that struggle with this, so don't worry about it. And here's how, here's some information on this. And here's how they did it. I don't know, just learning in general
yeah,
operations.
some best practices is what they call those, right?
Yeah. So I'd like to get some, get some operators for some different plants on a little more regularly than we did the last time. And get some real world talks. Near. We had a few operators, including myself, and then a couple other operators. But it's nice to get that. Hey, well, what are you actually seeing? Here's what me and Chad saw that are problems in our universe. But what are some problems you guys are seeing? I'd like for them to make them comments or questions.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's all best practices. What do you see? What kind of problems can you help solve? Those are one of the reasons why we started this podcast as well. So I like it. And,
Yeah.
and then I've also tried to reach out to a couple other people for this season as well. And that's, so I touched on this a minute ago, and I kind of dropped the ball of not tying everything together, but community involvement. So, we talk about the rate increases. We talk about what needs to be done. We talk about, hey, we need to have a bench of players. Basically, hey, does anybody have a son or a daughter who might be interested in this line of work in the small or big utilities? Hey, we need people to come up, and here's the reasons why. People are going into schools and different things, but really need to get in front of people, and you can utilize AI, I guess, or social media, but building that community trust, community outreach, having some transparency. What are some strategies in order to figure out how to get the community involved? So when you have a rate increase, or you need things repaired, and people are asking why, where's our money going, or if you have new regulations coming out, those are already, hey, we know Jason, we get it. Here's what he needs from us. Yeah, it's gonna suck, and we might post on Facebook that we hate rate increases, and we're gonna move out. But at the same time, we understand what's going on. So it's not a perfect world, but it's still. I mean, how does a person that works for the city, gives everything that they have, and gets up in the middle of the night to go fix a water main break when it's 10 degrees out or 10 below outside? How do they get more back from the community as far as an
Appreciation.
attaboy rather
Yeah.
than, my water's off, what's taking you guys so long? Something
Yeah.
a little bit better than, what we're getting.
We as a society we as a people have become very mean.
Mhm.
And that's sad too, because
Right. I agree.
I hate to see, you get crews that are going out there, like you said, negative-degree weather, leaving their nice warm beds with their families, where their
Yep.
water's probably on at their house, to come and make sure that your water gets back on in a timely manner. And then it just seems like everybody's angry, and thank you to them guys, or just but instead they'll get on there, and a lot of people get on there and bash the city,
Yep.
which those workers are part of the city. We're all a
Yeah.
part of the city.
Yeah. They work there.
So when
Yep.
you do that, take it to heart. I think everybody who works within a city, no matter what city they work in, takes takes it to heart that they're a part of a bigger team, which is that municipality. And so when one team member, that's why they have charge in the mound. The batter
Yep.
gets up there and the pitcher hits him, the whole team comes out. That's awesome. It's
Yep.
just that we're a team. And the same goes for a municipality or any workplace for that matter. If you all work together, there needs to be some sort of teamwork. And I think with the municipality, it's even a stronger, our guys have got a strong bond. They're all getting up in the middle of the night to come in and work together on a project. They all want to get home safe. They all want to get home. So that's some good teamwork right there. Much of them have some sort of crew leader. He's the coach, telling them what to do, helping them achieve that goal of getting things fixed and
Right.
water's back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, a simple thank you is nice sometimes.
This is something. Yeah. Yeah, just some recognition. And you know what? Most guys that I've been with and worked with, they don't need somebody to come up and go, hey, give them a hug and talk about, how
Yeah,
good they're doing, everything. They just need somebody not to, drive over them when there's cones in the middle of the street and they're
right.
trying to work on a ornament. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But anything's better than the constant, complaining or bitching about what's going on within the utility. So I
I
think
agree.
that's a huge win.
Well, I think we got a lot of topics there,
Yeah,
Chad,
it looks like one, two,
to
three,
get us
four, five,
started.
six topics. So that's rate studies, AI jobs, safety, cybersecurity, best practices, which is really important, and then some communication and community involvement
Yeah.
ideas. I think that's good. Yeah. We have a nice
So
start to a good season.
when we get this posted, I would encourage people, operators or city folks, or maybe just somebody who wants to get a better understanding of what's going on in the water and wastewater utilities world. We're trying to keep the flow. Plug. We're trying to keep the water flowing, So we would welcome comments, and I'd throw that little bit in there, and continue to watch us and support us on Facebook, Spotify.
Well, we still have room for a sponsor, right? Or
Yes,
sponsors.
yeah, we always
And
use sponsors.
And you got a little store popped up, with like hats and koozies and t-shirt and maybe a lock of your hair or something.
Try to post that. I'll try to get that link posted
Okay.
so that they can tie into all of our episodes or
Okay.
all of our, what do they call it? Platforms.
Platforms. Yes. Yes.
So cool. Well,
All
it was
right.
good seeing you again this year. And I look forward to a good season of keeping the flow so that we can keep everybody up to date of what's going on in the world, water and wastewater and utility world.
Okay. Sounds great, Jason. Thanks.